Okay, there's a kind of different thing. This is the New York metro area versus the rest of New York and New England Battle Royale. So I'm a New Yorker, that's why I'm making this. This is the map of the whole thing, and this is the map of the New York metro area, roughly, and a few key cities in the metro area. I need it zoomed in because it's too big here. So I'm a New Yorker. I'll try not to be biased, but, yeah. You know how New Yorkers are. So I thought this was kind of fair. The New York metro area has about 20 million people. So does New England. So the population is actually about equal. New England plus upstate New York. So New York is tiny though. That's its main disadvantage. However, it's very easy to defend. Manhattan is an island, so is Staten Island and Long Island. So the first thing New York does is they immediately push into Long Island, and they take it, after the siege of the Hamptons, which they take. This is big because it gets rid of a key border. So I hope you're able to see it here. This map's kind of confusing. This black line right here is the border with Connecticut. This is Connecticut's border with the ocean. These are a few key cities: New Haven, whatever, Hampstead, New Brunswick, here's Newark, but this big dot is Manhattan. Few key cities around the New York area. Here's Brooklyn and Queens. That's wrong. This is Queens. This is Brooklyn. So yeah. This line is Long Island, and then this is New Jersey. So this is the New York metro area. I made it a square. It's not actually a square, but it's close enough. So New York takes Long Island. This is big because now they can't invade Brooklyn and Queens without having to sea invasion. And New York knows how important it is, so they actually take control of the Long Island Sound, take naval control, and they actually they try to keep pushing up. However, they're stopped at the Battle of Providence, and the red team takes their control over the rest of the area, and with the New York's Navy weakened, the Battle of Providence, yeah. Also, by the way, this part of New Jersey, no one owns this. I'll just whatever. That's not part of the New York metro area. But New York will use that to invade into New York. So they start up here in Westchester, and they start the invasion. They hope to take Poughkeepsie, which is about there. They push along. So their hope is to go up here, cutting it into two, and maybe then they could win. But they push here. They capture Newburgh and Poughkeepsie, taking much of this part of New York and threatening Albany. Meanwhile, they make a landing. They don't make a landing. They push up the Connecticut River towards Hartford. However, it is very slow, so they push this way into Connecticut. It's pretty unpopulated here, but Hartford is being squeezed in from both sides, and the city eventually does fall, marking the surrounding of much of Connecticut's populated area, which eventually falls. The rest of Connecticut is evacuated and the state falls. However, now with Massachusetts being threatened, a counteroffensive is made. This time it's actually naval, so they push in here. They take back naval control over the Long Island Sound, and a landing is made in New London, which they take, once again threatening the borders of Hartford. This time they invade from Springfield, and they also surround the city. However, the city doesn't surrender, but eventually it does fall. And the New Haven is actually put under siege. So now the red team controls all this. Yeah, this is why the New York metro area map is important. They want to keep pushing into New York, so they quickly push. They take Danbury and quickly try to go to the sea. To cut New Haven off, as it's a very important city. However, let's see what lies there. Milford, Connecticut lies right there. So the only way to do that is to take Milford, which they defend very fiercely. And eventually, at the Battle of Milford, the blue team does win. And they not only push the red team out of that, but they also make a push up into New York. And they reach Lake Champlain with Vermont. And this is bad because now if Massachusetts wants to resupply New York, they actually can't, as there's no bridges. There's no bridges crossing Lake Champlain. Actually, there's one right here, but that's their only infrastructure and their only bridge crossing Lake Champlain. So, that's bad. Also, they retake control of the Long Island Sound, and the rest of Connecticut, once again, goes under blue team control. Over here, the blue team takes naval control down south, and an invasion into the Lake Champlain area begins. They actually cross the border into Vermont, and they push up. Burlington is basically surrounded. However, a fierce battle takes place here at St. Albans, whatever that is. I don't know, I'm just looking at Google Maps, and that's the city that's about in that area. However, the blue team does come out victorious, cutting off a lot. This is big, but from here, they're able to push along this side of Lake Champlain. New York isn't able to reinforce it fast enough. They take Plattsburgh, cut off this thing, and then Burlington falls. This is big. I'm pretty sure Burlington's Vermont's largest city. Yeah, it's the largest city in Vermont. From here, they hope to, from here, they really want to take out one of the fronts as they're being surrounded. And now they're very vulnerable as they could get cut across like that. So, to try to prevent that from happening, they make a big mistake of trying to invade the Adirondacks, which goes horribly. And it backfires a lot, and they actually do get cut off. Not only there, but also here, cutting off all these troops. However, eventually Albany, while all these troops are focusing here, Albany does fall, and the New York government barely escapes. From here, they push here, and after Albany, we get Utica. So they actually push along this border of New York and take it. And now they're threatening New York's, main city places outside of, obviously, New York City. But while they're trying to do that, this area falls, marking another connection between them. And New York knows they have to be quick, because otherwise New England would be able to resupply New York. So they quickly send basically all their troops. They take Buffalo, put Rochester under siege. Syracuse and Utica both fall, and this area is surrounded. So, but many troops here have come and reinforced. They also take naval control of Lake Ontario. but the red team still controls a lot, and they try multiple times to break the siege. However, they come really close, but the city eventually, right when they're about to break the siege, troops march in, and because of all those attempts to break the siege, New England's very weakened. So once again, so that's really bad. Now New York actually begins a push into Vermont, so they cross the southern border in New Hampshire, hoping to cut off the 1, 2, 3 states. Boston quickly reinforces this area, and at the siege of, ready, let's find a random city, Portsmouth, New Hampshire, right here. It's once again very, New England really doesn't want to lose this, because then they lose this whole area. And so instead, New York comes up with a massive idea. They trick them into thinking they're going all in here, when in reality, they have a tiny force here, just go straight up into New Hampshire, which actually works, marking the fall of the state. And Vermont falls with it, because reasons, and because I said so. I'm making this video, you are not. From there, they take Burlington, they cross this bridge, take the Lake Champlain area. The Adirondacks is cut off. Eventually, it does fall. And now, with New York being able to focus all their troops over here, an invasion into Maine begins. They take much of the coast, and it falls. So now New England really only has its heartland left. So, first of all, troops from here, they invade Massachusetts. They are able to cut off Springfield. However, they lose at the Battle of Worcester, which is actually New England's second largest city. But Springfield is cut off, and the Basketball Hall of Fame falls under New York's control. In Rhode Island, much of the state is taken over. However, Providence is not, and that's basically the whole state. An attempt is made to cut off Worcester. However, it fails at the Battle of, Marlborough. Marlborough, I don't know. It's a city, but right about there. So Worcester, they're able to evacuate in Worcester, and this is big because it gives New England some troops. And Providence also falls. Cape Cod falls, and Boston is the last New English city left. Boston defends its whole area, not just the city. And the 1,000,000 troops still left in Boston, they managed to make a desperate last attempt to try to take over New York, and they make a spearhead. They do, in fact, manage to reach White Plains, they take Yonkers, and they take the Bronx. However, and they try to land in northern Manhattan. However, they are stopped by the time they reach about 100th Street, and they are unable to take New York. While this happens, New York troops march into Boston, taking the city, and from there, they win. Yeah, that's the scenario.